Hey guys, it's Jonathan from Submaster Reviews. I apologize, it's been a while since my last upload, but it's just been really busy lately, haven't been able to see a whole lot of things, but of course I couldn't miss Black Panther, especially with all the very exciting hype that's been surrounding this film. With the all-black cast, Ryan Coogler, he's a fantastic, young, talented director. And that Marvel was really pumping a ton of resources into this, actually a lot more than a lot of the other films. This movie had a budget of about $200 million, so they were really able to just flesh out all their ideas. And some people have called this the best Marvel film of all time. Some people have been raving over Michael B. Jordan's performance as Killmonger, the main villain. Some were claiming that he was the strongest villain in the MCU that we've had thus far. And I saw this film last night, and I really had to sit down and calm myself because I was really excited about this film, and I just needed a little bit of time just to kind of just let all the dust settle, so maybe I didn't over-exaggerate. And now that I've had about a day to think about it, I can honestly say that Black Panther may be the best Marvel film in the cinematic universe of all time. Now, I'm not jumping on the bandwagon, so to speak. This is just a truly magnificent film on so many different levels. This is the first Marvel film that actually has a thematic meaning to it. This film isn't afraid to tackle a ton of social issues, including immigration, the Black Lives Matter movement, colonization, cultural appropriation. There's so many different things that this film covers, and it's so bold in its statements that you just have to applaud it from that. Not only that, this movie definitely has the smartest script out of all the Marvel films. Just to be able to combine such, you have your Marvel things, you have your big blockbuster action, but at the same time, the film's underlying tone feels way too modest for that. The performances are absolutely fantastic. Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa or Black Panther is fantastic. He gives a very reserved performance. Michael B. Jordan is excellent as Eric Killmonger. He's the most relatable villain I can say that I've seen on the screen in quite some time. You can actually get behind his points. This villain is definitely a product of his environment, and it's the dangers, and you're like, oh wow, it gets you thinking. It's like, I wonder if sometimes because people, when they're in bad situations, how would I react? Would I be doing the same thing that he's doing right now? And villains like that are the best, the ones that really get under your skin and you're conflicted in whether or not they're right or wrong. And Killmonger is definitely the embodiment of that. Also, all the supporting cast is fantastic. We also have Andy Serkis coming back as Claw. He's kind of like a side villain in the film, and he's great. He's very eccentric. People don't give Andy Serkis enough credit. I mean, of course, he's known for being Caesar and Gollum in Lord of the Rings, but he gives a lot of great live-action performances, and this is just another great example of those. Martin Freeman is also in the film. He's very good. He's not given necessarily a whole lot to work with, but his character is very good for what it's worth. So, like I said, the writing is absolutely spectacular in this film. The action is really well done. It's very well choreographed. A lot of really cool tribal, more ritualistic fights that we get in the film, which is just, I guess, an homage to African culture, and that was definitely the highlight of the film. It's really cool. I'd say that a lot of the set pieces and just the overall feeling of this film feels like a culmination of different films and the best of those films. I got a lot of Avatar vibes, I got Gladiator vibes, believe it or not, I got James Bond vibes. There's so many different things that they're pulling from, not stealing from, but you can tell that they're highly influenced, or the film was definitely highly influenced by those properties. And I think it paid off for it. It was just such an interesting blend. Not to mention that the soundtrack is fantastic. Kendrick Lamar's songs are put in the film, and they're fantastic. The original score is also very good. It has a lot of really cool like African percussion sounds mixed with your big orchestral epic scores as well, and just gives the film a very unique flavor. Also, the one thing I will say about this film that I may or may not have liked, and I'm still kind of conflicted on it, was that this film looks beautiful 99% of the time. The world that they were able to create with Wakanda is mesmerizing. It's very bright, it's very lively, it embraces the African culture. It almost looks like if you were to have a country like Nigeria, right, and then just have the Manhattan version of Nigeria in like Seoul and mix all those cities together. That's what Wakanda looks like, and it's super cool. That being said, there are a lot of times in this film where you can totally tell that these guys are just standing behind a green screen. And the performances are so convincing that, it's rare that that you're really distracted by it that much. But for a 2018 $200 million Marvel property, you would think that the visual effects would be flawless. And easily, there were so many different times in the film, especially towards the end when things get really CGI heavy with fight scenes, where shots either looked A, unfinished, or B, untextured, which is unacceptable. And it really brought me out of the film, especially when it was in the film's climactic fight. And it really just looked like two video game players, fighting against each other. And that really just yanked me out of the experience. And like I said, if it wasn't a huge problem, but at the end of the day, it's really an error in the visual effects department, especially since I'd say like a good 15 to 20% of these movies' effects just didn't look that convincing. And I just found that to be very disappointing. So overall, Black Panther is a fantastic film. I don't want to really get into the plot too much because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I kind of went into this film blind, and I'm really glad that I did. It takes a lot of great unexpected turns. And, I haven't really touched up on Eric Killmonger, or Michael B. Jordan's villain. He's fantastic. Do I think he's the best Marvel villain of all time? I'm really going to have to sit here and think about it. Initially, I absolutely think he's the most relatable villain. I've never been as emotionally attached to a villain. I actually cared about his motivation. He had a lot of very touching scenes. Unlike Loki. Loki is a great villain in the Marvel Universe, but he's kind of sympathetic, but 99% of the time, he's just bad just to be bad. And that can only take a villain so far, but Killmonger really had some depth to him. His backstory was well fleshed out. Just a great villain. He doesn't get as much screen time as you might think. Matter of fact, he doesn't really... He has a great scene in the opening of the film, and then he really doesn't come back until the halfway point. But considering you still get give or take, you probably get a good 30 minutes of Killmonger in there. But I think that everyone can agree that we wanted a little bit more, especially since he was such a highlight of the film. So that's being said, that's why I can't say whether or not he's the best Marvel villain yet. That's the only reason, just because I'm not sure how I would feel with him having more screen time. But yeah, I'll let you guys know what I think on that. But anyways, he's definitely number one or number two, for sure. So guys, overall, Black Panther is a fantastic Marvel film. Honestly, it might be the best Marvel film of all time. It has everything you'd like in a Marvel film. It has great action. It has, very creative set designs. The story is riveting. The performances are fantastic. This movie has such a sense of identity. And when you have a big franchise like this at this point, where every film is just trying to tie into the next one, it's so refreshing to have a film that can stand alone so well and has its own voice. Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job of directing this film. You can totally tell that this is his movie. It has its own style, its own flavor, and it's big, it's bold. It's the thing that people need to see right now. And I think especially in today's social climate, this is the movie that is the most socially relevant. We've never had a film with an all-black cast to this caliber that's just been this big of a deal because it's had such a high budget. It's been so publicized. It's been publicized so much, and it's not afraid to tackle big issues. So not only is Black Panther a great film, it's an incredibly important film, especially in today's age where we really haven't seen, or kids, so to speak. When I was a kid, for example, I looked up, it's like, oh, Spider-Man, or oh, Captain America. But no one, you could really never look up to anyone else on the big screen like that. But this is the first powerful black character that people can actually look up to, and it's just like, wow, you can have kids. I want to be like that. And I think that that's what we need, because Hollywood hasn't given us anything like that yet. And I'm really glad that now, I guess you could say, the African American community really has a figure like that they can look up to. And I think that's really important, especially in a world where we're claiming diversity. We definitely need to have more films that are like this. That being said, Black Panther is, oh God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. It's my first 5 out of 5 of the year. I enjoyed the hell out of this film. It had a few technical issues, but the script is just so damn strong that it just completely floods the issues that I had with the film. So guys, how'd you like this review? Let us know in the comments. Like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. You can also buy our merch at cafepress.com/stubmasters. Keep a lookout. I might do a live stream reaction for the Oscars when that comes out in a few weeks. So, I'll keep you updated on that. But as for that, the next big film I'm looking forward to is Annihilation. Hopefully that's a really good time. But yeah, guys, it's great doing this, and I'll catch you guys next week.